Day 3. What's the purpose of today, Chris?
Getting clear on the next 2 weeks to 30 days.
Next 30 days.
Sprint to Thanksgiving, maybe.
Yeah,
Full
next
map.
30 days. So here's the craziest thing, right? Phil, you're going to do the Freedom Protocol in like 2-3 weeks. Right. It's not going to save you. Eric, you're going one-on-one with Garrett this year. He can't save you. The craziest fucking thing about this game, and this is a harsh reality I had to face as a man and a producer, is the fact that no matter who I hired as a coach or a consultant or doing the Freedom Protocol or filling the fucking blank, it all came down to one single fact. What's that fact, Matt?
It's up to me.
Yeah. I got to do the fucking work. Freedom Protocol is cool. 70% of the whole fucking Freedom Protocol is what, Greg?
Integration and what you do with it on the backside.
What you do on the backside. So we spent 2 days here. 2 days here getting dick kicks, getting insight, getting revelation, getting pressed on from our brothers. Right? Mm-hmm. And now, today, we create our focus for the next 30 days. Knowing that the fact is we've really got about a 5-week window here before the year's over. That's it. We'll be back here first week of December, and we'll leave after the first week of December, and basically the year's over. Yeah, we're going to set another 30-day fact map. But as far as getting shit done inside of business, it gets really fucking hard. It's like walking through mud in boots. It gets harder and harder and harder the closer you get to Christmas. So I would say today's the most fucking important day we have, because today is where we land the fucking plane, and all this cool insight and pump up and revelation and all this great shit, none of it fucking matters if we don't do the work. That's it. Your journey, Phil, is not going to fucking matter if you don't take action on what you receive. It'll be a cool experience. It'll be nice, but none of it's going to fucking matter unless you move. None of it. So let's drop in with a quick prayer. Let's circle it up, man. Johnny, you game?
Yeah.
All right, bro.
God, thank you for day 3, for bringing us here together. As I was thinking this morning about prayer, I knew that today I would be called upon. I knew because the last 2 days, you told me it was my moment, and I did not listen. You told me to interrupt Eleazar, and I did not listen. And today, as we sit here in day 3, I want you to pour into each man, that you open their hearts and their minds and you connect them in wholeness, so that you can also give them the strength and the courage to do the thing that they know they should do, that they're not doing. You put them in the path. You put them in the pocket. They receive the message. The moment is right. And they say no. They say, fuck you, God. The way that I've said fuck you the last 2 days. I want for each one of them today, as you've given me, the ability to step into that pocket and to execute on the thing that you know that they must do next. That they would have the strength and the courage to just lean into it and go. That they would stop fighting, they would stop resisting, and they would just know that with your strength, with them, guiding them, that it's just going to be okay. Like they can just surrender and let go because it's going to be okay. That we share in victory the stories that they come back to us with in December, of this moment where they allowed themselves that space to step into that spot. I want to thank all the men who served. as we celebrate Veterans Day. There's a war out there, and some of them gave their lives so that we can have the freedom to live in this war. As we travel back tonight, keep us safe in our journeys, and to our loved ones at home who paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to be here, we thank you, Lord, that you give them the strength to take care of our kingdoms in our absence. All this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Johnny. What a fucking miracle we're here, right? Think about it. I could have been born in China. I could have born in fucking China. China's rounding up Uyghur Muslims right now because of their religious beliefs and putting them in concentration camps. Let that sink in. You're just in fucking Saudi Arabia. How much did you talk about a Christian belief system where women shouldn't wear a fucking veil in Saudi Arabia? Why?
It wouldn't be accepted.
Because you'll get fucking killed. This precious moment right now, the fact that each of you men can be here in this room, choosing to be here, is a fucking miracle. Top 1% of the whole world population. Let that sink in. You had to have a certain level of income to be able to afford to even step in the fucking room to pay the admission. Had to be born on the right soil. Had to make the right choices to be right here in this precious fucking moment. And a big piece of it is thanks to the veterans that served. I didn't serve. Grandfather did. Both sides. It's just been a series of fucking miracles after miracle after miracle for all of us to get here today. And the good news is we can either step into the pocket that God's been speaking to us, or we can keep pissing it away. I know what it's like to piss it away. I did it for 10 fucking years. 10 fucking years, I pissed away my opportunity. God spoke into me in 2012 and said, you're supposed to lead transformation. I said, I don't know what that looks like, God. I'll talk to the guys that run Vanto Group. Talk to the guys at Vanto Group. We're not hiring. Well, I tried. And then guess what happens after that? Life gets harder and harder and harder. So I sell my company. And I'm going to lead transformation. And where did I find myself, Matt? In a fucking pit. Back in the same fucking place I was before. Because I wasn't willing to take a knee. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you guys 7 minutes back here at the table. Because a lot of what's happening here isn't more about like struggle or fighting or anything else. It's actually being willing just to surrender to God. Because God's speaking into every one of you. I don't care if you call it the lizard, if you call it your voice, or if you call it the higher self. I don't care what the fuck you call it. I don't really care. But there's something that's getting spoken into you right now that you know you must fucking move on. And the craziest thing is, Hans, we can pretend it didn't happen. We can lie and act like God hasn't spoken directly into us. What's the fruits of that? Yeah, it's a karmic fucking loop. And no one knows but who? That's it. Which is the worst fucking place to be. So while you get all the accolades from your peers and you're fucking crushing it, you know deep down inside, you fucking sold out. So we're going to take 7 minutes here to reflect. We're going to write, what's the message that God has put on your heart that you need to do? What's the move you need to make right now inside of your life? Clear?
Clear.
All right, Cameron. Awakening mix. 7 minutes on the clock. Let's hear some shares.
No substance.
What's God been speaking into your world and you've been hiding? Hans?
So it's a conversation I had with John.
Yeah.
To me, it's not, I'm at a point where I'm not hiding. I just take action. And I used a word with him of test. Let me just test. And I misspoke when I said that, because then he took it as testing that I'm testing God. Maybe not directly, but that was kind of the challenge that I looked at. And I said, well, no, what it is I don't know what's going to be right sometimes.
Right.
So the only thing that I can do is take an action. So that led me to the next step of, all right, well, how do you determine if it's God or it's you?
Sure.
So that I anchor back to day one and a lot of the other things. What is the feeling that it creates inside of me?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that feeling is going to be challenge. It's going to be hard. It's going to be pressure.
Yeah.
But then I have to make a decision. Well, is that justified? I have to think, pray, analyze.
Yeah.
Is that pressure, whether it's God or me saying no,
Yeah.
but you at least took action, which
Right.
opens up something else? Or is it the pressure of breaking through to a next level?
Yep.
And that's where the challenge comes once again. So the real critical thing is, for me, is it's not about hiding. It's about the action that I take and the way that I do two things.
Yep.
Well, three: mental, spiritual, and even a physical response to the feelings that I get,
Yeah.
and how to interpret those to move forward. And that
Right.
ultimately is based on a choice that's fed by everything else that's going on in my domains. So
Right.
if my body's challenged,
Yep.
then my business is going to drop. So this is where the key thing for me is, the more I'm in power with core four,
Yep.
the less that I'm going to find that there's an area of avoidance.
Mhm.
To me, it's a dialogue that says, all right, you know what this is. It's like yesterday. I can plug into what Garrett was saying. Was that God? Was that Garrett? Was that Hans?
Sure.
Don't know until I do what? Test
Stack it out and figure it out.
Well, or take action. I
right.
can stack it all day long, but if I don't take the action
And move.
and move,
Yep.
then I'm truly avoiding. So to me, avoidance is if I have something,
Yep.
unknown or known, that I'm not taking an action on.
Right.
But the challenge is it's that's something for me,
Yeah.
right? Is it a big step I take or a little?
Right.
Is as long as I take the step.
Right. So the craziest thing that happens for us as men is, it's happened to me for a long time. I start to lie. So God speaks into my world, and then I start to tell stories and I start to lie to myself and sometimes even other people about what God's actually spoken into my world. And so when we start to lie, what happens to us as men and the voice of God in our world?
Justification.
Justification gets foggier. And so all of a sudden, God's speaking into our world, and it's like a fucking scrambled signal. So part of this, Hans, you're right. It's like I'm actually starting to learn to trust and follow the voice of God again. So I can't tell if it's Hans or if it's God or if it's Garrett or if it's just the fucking 5-hour energy hitting the right way today. You know? So the only way to know is to get in fucking action, and you find out. Versus where we like to hang out, which is in the fucking karmic cul-de-sac. And I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait until God speaks it more clearly to me. And then 10 years pass by.
Or it's circumstances that,
Or it gets
Right.
easier.
or it gets harder,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Or we get a knee put on our neck in a room like this.
You know what?
A knee put on our neck in a room like this. Right. Bill, what's showing up for you, bro? You got your fucking world scrambled yesterday.
Got it scrambled again this morning.
What's up, bro?
Got a call from my wife
Yeah.
right before we started. She's got cervical cancer.
Fuck, man.
Um,
Wow.
she's had it before. She's fought it before I was with her. So it's, yeah. I mean, I think about this and I'm like, sometimes God makes shit happen to get that signal back in line.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You know, it's new for me. I felt really good yesterday. I felt like good this morning. It's like I got my shit together. I know what I need to do.
Mm.
Why are you
then-
here?
Huh?
Why are you here?
I'm leaving in a couple hours. Can't leave any sooner. I already checked. But yeah, dude, it's just that I don't have I have to process it a little bit. But all the shit that's I've been complaining about with my wife, I mean, none of that shit matters.
Mm.
The details don't matter, dude. What matters is I love my wife,
That's right.
and I'm going home to a new house, and it's a blessing, and it's a pain in the ass all at the same time. And we've got to work at a plan for all this shit that we got to do. Well, no, what happens is she's got to get well. That's what number one. God made this thing happen, and it's reshifting a focus of her and I back to the thing that matters most. Is my kind of first reaction, because the details don't matter. Because if she's not here, then it doesn't fucking matter.
Nothing fucking matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's heavy, bro.
Yeah. So it's
What are you feeling right now, Phil? You're safe here, bro. What are you feeling, man?
just
Yeah.
fought really hard to get her
Yeah.
in the first place. I was in a serious, serious pit
Yeah.
when I found her. And God took her away from me after I found her because he needed me to be closer to him before I could be close to a woman. When I was going through my divorce and everything like that, I wanted to just cling to another woman to relieve my pain, and he wouldn't let that happen. He said, "No, you need me."
Mm-hmm.
And I found him. Yeah, I got a relationship with him. And I went months and months, and I wanted her back. And he gave her back to me. She's a blessing to me. It's like my business is a blessing to me, and my kids are a blessing to me, and you guys are a blessing to me. I literally fucking prayed for you guys for 2 years. I was praying for mentors and brothers in my life to be placed into my life. I stacked about it this morning. It's here. My wife's here. But now I'm being gut checked again. And it's painful, but it's a blessing because something better is going to come. I know that. I've seen it happen. And I can praise God for that right now,
Yeah.
even when it sucks, because I know we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
She's a fighter. She's going to get through it. She's stronger than me. I mean, she never talks about the stuff. I know she had it. She's been upset about it, going to see the doctors recently. I never even thought that it was going to come to this, but it did. And then that's when she pours out to me, because she's a hard ass and she's strong, but now she's pouring out to me.
Yeah.
So I told her, I'm just going to be there for you. Whatever that means, I'm going to be there for you. Even when you say you don't need me, I'm going to be there and go to
What
the
do you
doctors.
think she actually wants from you, Phil?
She wants me, dude. She wants protected. She wants a partner.
So there was a moment of Phil that showed up about 3 minutes ago. And then Phil went back to his head. It was raw, Phil.
Yeah. Seen
Yeah.
cry with her, dude.
Yeah. Fucking painful, bro. It's okay to feel that, brother.
Yeah, she needs to know I feel the pain with her.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Fucking sucks. Where do you feel that in your body, Phil? Sit back. Sit up. Where do you feel it in your body? Close your eyes. Where do you feel that?
Feels heavy, dude, on my shoulders.
Mm. It's weighing down on your shoulders. Can we get some men to push down on Phil's shoulders? Put a bit of pressure down on Phil's shoulders. Where else do you feel it, Phil?
Head.
On your head. We need some pressure on Phil's head. Push down on his head. It's weighing him down. Where else do you feel it, Phil?
Hands.
Where?
My hands.
On Phil's hands. Push on his hands. Where else do you feel it, Phil?
In my feet.
Get down on his feet over here, Chris. Where else do you feel it, Phil? Is this the right amount of pressure? Too much? Feel it. Fucking feel it, Phil. Where is it?
My forearms.
On his forearms. What are you feeling right now, Phil? Keep breathing into it, Phil. Breathe into the pressure. Breathe into the pain. What are you feeling, Phil?
I'm feeling support.
What else are you feeling?
I'm feeling your guys' pain.
What else?
I'm feeling your guys' love.
What else? What else are you feeling right now, Phil?
Feeling togetherness.
Okay?
I'm still feeling everybody here.
Who needs to carry this fucking pressure, Phil?
Not me.
Not you. Who needs to carry this fucking pressure, Phil?
Give it to God.
Give it to God. Phil, what do you need to do to turn this over to God?
Just need to tell him,
Tell him what, Phil?
God, I'll release this to you.
Tell him what, Phil?
I'll release this to you.
Let it out. Let it out.
I mean, I can't fix her. I can't fix her. Can't heal her.
Let it out, Phil.
I can't deal with worrying about whether or not she makes it or not. I can't deal with worrying about what this means for our family, what it means for everything that I want to do. I can't carry that burden. Can't worry about what I'm going to have to do because of it. Can't worry about doctors. Can't worry about the science behind what the hell the problem is. I can't deal with all that shit.
Whose is this, Phil?
It's yours, God. It's your problem. She's your child. You've got a plan for her. It's not up to me to know. It's not up to me to do anything about it. Just like it's not up to me to do my plan. It's your plan.
What are you feeling, Phil?
Feel a release.
Phil, you don't have to carry this. You've never had to carry this. You can't carry it. You have one job with your woman. What's your one job?
Love her and feel that pain with her.
That's it. Just fucking be with her, bro. Let her feel you. Let her feel you. We're gonna have you come up front and Matt's gonna pray over you. Come on, man.
gift of the heart in this man's chest. It brings power, it brings love, it brings connection. Phil is grateful. Connection. And the energy in this heart he shares for his wife. He's allowed your love to pour over these two people. And give them strength, certainty. Very difficult situation. And heal together. It's an opportunity to bring them closer. On a deep, soulful level. Pour your light and love into their family, into their new home. Be there to guide when they are sad, when they are scared, when they are full of fear. Be that spark in their hearts. We know we are not in control, that you are. And as painful as this reality is at times, situations like this, we know we have to trust. So we ask for your light to pour over us, to guide us, to pull us towards this path that you call us on, to our higher selves. Allow this to be an opportunity. These two people to see each other as they truly are.
Amen. Bill, you're not alone. You never have been alone. The key to the door is just opening up, letting us feel Phil. This is all your wife needs right now, brother. This. She doesn't need your mind. She knows you got the fucking mind thing handled. She wants this. That's it. We're here for you, bro. Night or day. You're not alone. Craziest fucking thing, right? Craziest fucking thing is the cost of taking a knee. Craziest fucking thing is the cost of taking a knee. What it feels like, for me, my experience, the last couple of months, is possibly losing everything I know. Losing my wife. That's still likely. Which also means like my kids don't live with me. Losing my income. Losing fucking everything. right? So inside of the New Testament, Jesus Christ said, except a man hates his mother and father, can he truly come to me? Let that sink in for a second. Unless you're willing to hate your mother and father, can you truly come to God? The cost of discipleship's high, but the rewards are rich. So here's what I'm going to have you do. We just had an experience. Give you 5 minutes here to write and reflect. What showed up for you? What happened just now? What showed up for you? Just give you 5 minutes to write. Clear? Clear. Forrest Walden, where you at, man? What's coming up for you this morning?
Yeah, I was just sharing with my group. Read Phil's stack this morning. I got an audio note from Phil this morning. And
Yeah.
had a good feel for where he was at coming into today, and it was all positive. And I had just turned my screen on when he started sharing, and I mean, my whole world just changed. And I'm already praying for him, and I admire that he quickly went to submissive to the greater plan and his faith in Christ. I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of hard days and hard times in front of him where he's going to have to remind himself of those eternal truths. But the fact he went there so quickly, I admire that about him. I know that's because of his walk with Christ and how strong it is. And he may still be a little in his head and not quite access the emotions of what's to come. And I would never want to be in his shoes, but I also know that if I were, he'd walk through me with it, and I want to walk through him with it. And he's got brothers here in Birmingham. They're going to walk through him with it.
How's that feel, Phil?
Feels great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Forrest.
Beautiful. 2 clap. Boom. Greg, what's coming up for you this morning?
Just on that conversation, the thought that came to mind was if there's an area in my life where I'm not willing to surrender and trust to what God's telling me to do, what's going on in my life, then it's obviously an area where there's a gap in my faith and in my trust. And if that faith is lacking, that trust is lacking in one area, how can I claim that it truly exists at all? Because I am making my faith and my willingness to listen and to move situational, circumstantial, based on what I want. That's not surrender. I'll listen to God in a stack when he tells me to do something in my business, but I won't do it if he's telling me to have a hard conversation with my wife. I'll listen when he tells me, hey, donate money to this, but not when he says, hey, take the day off and hang out with your kids. If I'm not willing to do it all, then I'm missing the entire point.
I will surrender, but just not that. So what is that for you? What's the thing you're still not willing to surrender, Greg?
Conversations with my wife.
What are those conversations?
Just being open about emotions, what I want, in communication with her. It's not about sex. It's not about money. It's just about connecting to her as a person. Because to me, that type of vulnerability is scary.
Yeah.
Better than it used to be, but still like, I don't know if you'll like that if I really let it out.
So what do you need to let out?
The fact that I do get stressed, I do get anxious, stuff is hard. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. So just telling your wife that. Yeah. Because how much money did you make in 2021, Greg?
2020,
2020.
$12,000.
Not $12,000 a month. $12,000 in 1 year. So your wife's watching you this year. You spent the first half of King's Council trying to figure out what you were going to do. You landed on it. FlowJot, it's going. It's fucking amazing. And how much have you shared with your wife?
About what's going on.
Yeah.
she knows about the money, but not about any of the turmoil or the stress.
Yeah. Yeah. So the craziest thing, when my company like nearly blew up in 2014, I got to the point, man, where I literally went and took $100,000 out of the bank and like hid it under my mattress. No lie. Because I was sure that we were done. Like we were fucking bankrupt. It was over. The gig was up. I was certain. So, well, what could I do? I could go take money out of the bank. And probably I'd get sued after, and it's a whole different story. But I took money out of the bank and I hid it all over. So all my wife knew is I was hiding money all over our house. Right? All she knew is Corwin's out of his fucking mind. He's getting stacks of cash out of the fucking bank and putting it in our freezer. And you know what's wild, Greg? My wife didn't even know. She just told me 6 months ago. She's like, I didn't know things were that dark. I was like, yeah, I thought about killing myself a lot. Just fucking pull the plug. Got a life insurance policy. I don't know if it pays out or not, but why stick around? My business is fucked. My marriage is fucked. It's all fucked. But all your wife wants is what?
For me to open up and let her in, to let her know how I feel.
Yeah. Because the door to intimacy is what? There's a door to intimacy. What's the door to intimacy, Matt?
Connection.
Which is what?
Vulnerability.
Thank you. The door to intimacy, as Michael G. Isom said, is vulnerability. And what's crazy about this is vulnerability is a lot like this conversation of surrender with God. It's like, hey, I'll open up to my wife about all these things over here, but like, these are my sacred cows I'm not going to tell my wife about. I'm not going to tell my wife how fucked we might be financially. Because like, I don't want her to carry that. But Michael, when you're in the pit, does your wife know or does she not know?
She knows now, and she's my biggest cheerleader and support.
Yeah.
And intimacy is through the roof as a result.
Because you've been vulnerable. But the crazy part is when we withhold what's going on for us internally, what do our wives feel?
Oh, they feel it big time.
They feel it big time. They feel disconnection.
They feel resistance, and they wonder if we can be trusted.
They think we're fucking lying, right?
They feel unseen.
Yeah. They think we're fucking lying. So the way we like to play the game is, hey, God, like I'll let go of everything. I'll surrender everything. But like, here's my sacred cow over here. Like, this is the thing I'm not going to let go of. Or I'll share with my wife everything, but I'm not going to share this part of me with her because she can't handle it. Or I don't want to stress her out or whatever our conversation is. Chances are that's all she's waiting for. Chris, what are you seeing right now? What's showing up for you?
Because I still carry too much and I don't surrender and give enough to God. And what specifically showed up for me was that has to be a daily action on my part.
Yeah.
For the peace and the freedom that I'm really looking for only will come when I do that. Because I wasn't meant to carry these burdens and the stress by myself. I wasn't supposed to carry it. Christ said to put it on his shoulders. He'll carry our burdens.
Yeah.
And I think I'm strong enough, and I think for some reason I'm supposed to hold on.
Yeah. So the most mind-bending thing, Chris, like we have a similar background, upbringing, obviously raised different, but in a similar culture religiously. The message I continually got is like, I'm only saved, if you will, by like working really fucking hard. Right? Like my ancestors were pioneers. My ancestors left like the Midwest and like drove their fucking wagons to Arizona and set up shop in a desert. And like that whole pioneer genetic thing got passed down till the point that it killed my mom. My mom died at 53, man. She had a congestive heart failure. A heart valve literally fucking blew up in her sleep. Why do you think that happened? She didn't have heart problems. She wasn't willing to let go. She thought that she could work herself out of a pit. Single mom, dad never paid child support, got remarried, that fucking blew up on her. That got a divorce. bought a house, and my brother's on the streets fucking overdosing like every month. And my mom keeps carrying it and carrying it and carrying it and carrying it because she thinks she has to carry it. And it killed her.
The body keeps the score.
Yeah. Just let go. Just let go. So here's where we're going to go this morning. Conversation this morning is really centered around this conversation of balance. Because as Phil is getting a visceral experience of, nothing really matters across the other three domains in the short term when someone you love has a major illness. It gets real. And what a gift we have, men, to be here in the room for Phil to share that with us and open up to us, but also for us to get our own gut check, right? To get our own fucking gut check where we think or what we think is more important than balance. So here's what we're gonna do. Everyone's got their freedom maps. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes here to review your freedom map. 5 minutes here to review your freedom map for this 90-day window. Where are you at? What is your freedom look like inside of the conversation of balance? So we're gonna take just 5 minutes here. You're gonna review your freedom map. What does freedom look like for you inside of the conversation of balance? Clear? Clear. All right, 5 minutes on the clock, Cameron. All right, so we're gonna do a quick paired share. We're gonna do a quick paired share. Coach Nick's gonna catch you guys virtually. What does freedom look like for balance right now in this quarter? Just a quick check-in with the other men, where you're at. And here's the thing. Some men want to pivot their targets right now inside of their freedom map. So if you want to make a pivot, they have a really good fucking reason why. Because one of the things we like to do as men is when things get hard, is we want to change the target. Well, like maybe I wasn't really into that one because like it's getting really difficult to actually achieve that. So if you're trying to make a pivot here inside of balance, you better have a really clear reason why. So we're going to do a paired share here real quick. We're going to have 5 minutes on the clock, just a paired share and check in. Freedom, what does freedom look like inside of balance for you here in this Q4 window? Clear? Clear. All right. 5 minutes, Cameron. Hans, what does freedom look like for you inside of balance?
So I was sharing with Chris. It is shifting from having my free man targets as when we set them, particularly for me, they're mental exercises,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And that's great, but it's the emotion and the being that's put behind those. So I'm not changing them. It's changing the presence that I have when I'm in them and with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that experience is not the experience of, it's the experience with and within.
Mm-hmm. So what does that look like specifically?
It's emotion. Emotion doesn't have look. It's feeling.
Understood. So how do you know specifically that you accomplished that though inside of the game of balance with your partner and your posterity?
So with my wife, as I was sharing, like most of our wives, they have busy weeks. It's a
Sure.
busy week. It's a busy week. And I
Yeah.
was testing her today on, yeah, but when are you going to do this for you? When are you going to do this for you?
Mhm.
Well, it's a busy week. I understand. But
Yeah.
until you make yourself a priority, it's never going to get done.
Right.
And then it's my pull away.
Yeah.
And then it's let her have space, let her marinate on that, let her think on it. And then I get to reapproach it this weekend. So it's a different seductive process for me that really has not a result of her doing it in a thank you,
Mhm.
but in the way that it shows up and the way that she shows up as a different person for the person that I see.
Yeah. So how do you know you accomplished this though at the end of the quarter?
She does it.
She does what?
Whatever it is that she's holding back on. I know there's things. So for instance,
Yeah.
she's 50. For her 50th, she wanted, she goes, well, I'd like to go down and just get some work done.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. When are you going to do it? Well, it's been a busy week. I know. Next week's going to be busy too until you schedule it. So it's just going to be,
What would happen if you just scheduled it?
I don't know where when it comes to that, I don't do the research for her. I don't know lip fillers, Botox, any of that stuff, whatever she wants. She's the type of person that will get it done and won't even talk about it to me, and I'm okay with that. Because that's where she feels, her vulnerability, like a lot of women.
Remember what Chad did though?
What's that?
Remember what Chad did when he booked the trip for his wife that she wouldn't go on, but she got on the
It's
plane?
not a trip. I'm not gonna send her down
No,
to.
I'm just saying it's the
Yep.
same concept
Yep.
that he's talking about. Because
Right.
here's what I know about my wife. She's like most women. She will not do it. But if I make an appointment for her,
Yep.
she'll be like, "That's not where I really want to go. I canceled it and moved it over there."
That's right. Just like me having the fucking babysitter show up. Not going on a date night this weekend. Blah, 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 blah.
And this is where I was trying to get to with the walk and talk with you, because you do this a lot. So when you say, what are you supposed to surrender to on the test, you won't lean into like taking one step like that because you've got all these theories in your head about why it won't work.
Well, here's a challenge. I know for 30 years, this woman, this is something she will have to set up. It's a different approach. And this
Case
is
in
one of the
point.
things.
You're just creating an environment for her.
Eric.
Just an observation.
Yeah.
But when the question was asked, what does freedom mean in this area? You said when she does this. So your freedom is based on her
I understand
performing
that.
stuff. Okay, I just want to.
I know,
make sure-
and I get that.
Yeah.
Because my freedom is her ability to express and show up. Because there are things that I see there that detract from what can be done in balance and what can be created. So I'm creating a space that I'm already growing with my partner, but I'm also, when I don't see certain actions to help her grow, my freedom has to be, instead of waiting, it's actually taking action to push you in a direction to continue to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my action. It's pushing you to grow. The
Yep.
same thing that happens in a chair yesterday, the same thing that he does. What's the push? What's the push?
So consider the push may just be booking a fucking appointment. Does she have friends?
Of course she does.
Do you know any of her friends? Like, hey, who's the good, whatever injection
She won't,
person?
she won't go. She will do everything on her own. She's just that type.
But that's not the point. The point is that you're showing her, like, you know what? You said this is important, so I'm going to set the condition and you can change it if you want.
I booked the fucking
Even
appointment.
if she doesn't go,
Yeah.
right? You took a step in the direction of getting movement in the one thing you say you want.
That's a step 3. I hear you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just consider.
So this to me is the testing once again that I was walking with you on. I hear you, but
And
there's also a
That's the
protocol
part
that I go through.
That's the part where I was questioning the testing.
Yep.
Because what I pick up on you is you test, yes, but to my point, you test after you consider all the variables on what action you're going to trust to lean into.
Absolutely, I'm a scientist. That's the way. That's
That's
the
what
way I
I was
was
trying to
raised.
get you to get to.
Hypothesis.
And that's what I was
Right?
trying to get you to see earlier is that you do not
Ingredients.
lean in because you make
Systems,
conditions.
right? That's the way that I operate. That's the way Eric operates too.
Here's the craziest
works.
fucking thing. Science is only one way of knowing shit.
No, it's multiple ways. That's a fallacy.
Watch
That's what
this,
testing
though.
comes in.
Watch this. No. Watch this. Watch this. No, science is a method of knowing. Science is a method of knowing. That's why
You know what works and what doesn't work.
that's why I became an avowed atheist, because I worship science. I worship science. I did. Science was my God. Science was my God because I was so goddamn fancy that if I couldn't fucking prove it with science, it wasn't fucking real. Well, guess what? There's different ways of knowing, spiritual ways of knowing that you can't prove with science. So I had to let go of my ego and I had to let go of my need to be fucking right.
So let me ask you a question. Why would she not like me scheduling an appointment?
I have no idea. I don't know your wife.
That's right.
Well, no, because it's a control thing.
That's right. And what is do you think that my wife wants, considering the history you guys know about me?
For you not to have control over her.
That's right.
For you to respect her
That's right. And how do I do that?
by letting her.
That's right. See, if I go out and I book it, now I'm the control freak. Now, wait a minute. Is there something wrong with me, although I want it, that I need to go down and get this done because of you? Fuck you. Fuck you. But now all of a sudden, what I do is I create the environment
Yeah.
that creates independence for her, but support and protection by me trusting in you. But what do I have to do? What am I doing?
Push on her a little bit.
And what is that also called? I'm not pushing on her. Have you done this? I'm leading her. The same thing you work on doing.
yeah.
The same thing you're working on. It's just a different process
Good.
based on my experience. So what is it? It's an action, yes.
So
but
what's
it's not going to be directly connected
So
to the
what's
way
the
you
one
can.
thing that, cause then all the options that you're saying are external, cause you're waiting on her to do something, but what is the one thing you can do?
That's where I explain it. This is where over the weekends, the next one, what does this next schedule look for you?
Good.
I have to pop the balloon, just like we do in here.
Yep.
See, I'm in a different position than a lot of you guys are. And I've spent 2 years working on it to get to a point that my process will not work the same way. I have to separate and do everything we process,
Opposite.
go through.
Everything's fucking opposite.
Opposite at times. And
Yeah.
other times, right. So what I use, I push, now I create. It's 3 yards, 3 pushes. She pulls back. By 1, I'm up 2.
Yep.
I'm playing a long game.
Yep.
So my long game might not be a 30-day game that's a fast game. My long game is to turn this woman back into a queen for me,
That's right.
right? And that means that sometimes my pivots are in a different position than what it is with a second wife. A second wife, right? That
Who
might
knows?
be.
God
who knows? Right.
I've never been remarried.
Yeah.
Both my parents got remarried. They got in worse marriages.
That's
so that's
right.
all I know.
So this is where I go back and what is the game plan for
Yeah.
this one? By leveraging every bit of input.
Yeah.
And I sit and I go, okay, where's he right? Where's he wrong? I know me.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back. I'm going to be a fucking egotistical, cocky son of a bitch.
Sure.
But then I'm going to walk out and then my heart's going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart takes over. I'll look at it and I'll say, how did Corwin look at this?
Mm-hmm.
How did Johnny look at this?
Mm-hmm.
What did Johnny offer me and what did I take? How did
That's
I
right.
implement that?
Beautiful.
When I connect with Eric, it's because his mind is intriguing to me and I
For
love
sure.
that. So when he says something, I listen. And then because I am intellectual, I have to process through the mind to the heart. So that's what I do.
Beautiful. 2 clap. Boom. All right. So yes, please, Eric.
Can I go into some weird shit for a second?
Yeah. I
Okay.
like weird shit.
I love the
Okay.
shit.
In terms of what you can do, one thing you can do is we are all connected at a spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go, your conscious mind is thinking right now. If you connect to your unconscious and then you connect to infinite intelligence, you can actually remotely program and influence her. So in your meditations, what if you actually viewed her and imagined her and went through how you really want her to act and send that energy to her? And I know it sounds like weird shit, but it has worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
that could be another thing that could sort of really help you is because if you're going in thinking she's going to resist and pull back, that's how you're going to show up. If you go back of this loving, kind woman that's going to help, you're going to actually approach it differently at a subconscious level.
And when I project or communicate that she's resisting, I've put myself into that programming there to work through. So, and part of that, I mean, it sounds stupid. It goes back down to the Secret Law of Attraction movie from whatever it was as a gateway to start understanding that.
Bingo.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So like on the surface, it looks really weird and woo-woo, but it works. So, all right, beautiful. All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to pull out your maps, your freedom maps, and you're going to get dialed in on what is your target for the next 30 days? What's your next 30-day focus here inside of the conversation of balance? What's that lead domino you have to set up and knock down inside of the conversation of balance that is going to help you achieve that freedom, right? So we're going to be back here first week of December. So, I mean, we're right here in the middle of the sprint. So the question you're going to answer right now, 20 minutes on the clock, is what is that lead domino inside of balance that you have to knock down to help you hit your freedom for the quarter? Now, the key here with balance is there's 2 conversations, right? Who are the 2 conversations inside of balance?
Partner, posterity.
Partner, your spouse, or creating a spouse. And then posterity, which is your children, right? Partner and posterity. The key here is to make sure we put a focus on both. It's easy to focus on the kids. It's a lot harder to focus on our woman when she's being a bitch, which is our stories. Clear?
Clear.
All right, 20 minutes on the clock. We're going to work here. What's the lead domino inside of balance? Yeah.